Hello friends and potential friends. Well, the sweet potatoes from seed experiment continues. Just as kind of a recap, 2, maybe 3 years ago now, I found some sweet potato vines that had started to flower and they produced seeds. So of course I gathered up some of the seeds. Well, I was talking to a buddy of mine back then, and something he said stuck in my head. He said, "You can't do that. You can't grow sweet potatoes from seeds." So of course I had to try. I planted some of those seeds. I planted a bunch of those seeds, and they were very hard to get them to germinate, but I did finally get maybe a dozen or so. So I planted them in one of the raised beds out here, put a fence around it so they'd have something to climb on, and then I went off to my mom's for the summer. When I came back, they had taken over the garden. Those vines have spread throughout most of the garden spaces. And I went digging underneath those things, and I didn't find one sweet potato. But the next spring, they started popping back up again. They had reseeded themselves. So okay, I let them, and I went off to Mom's again. When I came back, they had spread. They had not quite taken over the whole garden, but they had spread into several of the beds. And last year, I went digging in there again, and I found some tubers. You may recognize these, because I saved a bunch of them. And one of the things that struck me is that a lot of these tubers that I found, they're pretty scrawny, not big at all, but they're red. And I have never planted red sweet potatoes in this garden anywhere. So clearly these had to have come from the seeds, and so I've decided I'm going to continue the experiment, but with a little bit of a twist. I'm not planting any more seeds. I'm going to take some of these tubers and see if I can get them to grow slips. And then I'm going to plant those slips before I head off to Mom's again. And when I get back in September, we'll see what happens. Now, the way I grow slips, I'm sure you've seen where you can take a sweet potato, stick some toothpicks in it, and put it in a jar of water, and it'll grow slips. And I can tell you that works. That's the way I used to grow my slips. But I can also tell you that the first time that sweet potato starts rotting in that jar of water, you're going to start looking for a better way to grow slips. I've seen where some people take the sweet potatoes and they put them in the dirt and have them about halfway covered with dirt and then leave them. And I can't tell whether that works or not. I'm sure it'll grow slips. I don't know how well it will, because I've never tried it. But I have tried, and this is the way I grow my sweet potato slips now, is I take the tubers and I just spread them out in a container like so. And then I put a light layer of soil over top of them. burying them completely. And then I will water this in good and put it somewhere out here where it'll get quite a bit of sunshine. And in a few weeks, I expect to see slips starting to pop up there. Now once they do, I can either leave them, let them grow. Once they get to be about 6 to 8 inches long, I'll pull them off of the seed potatoes and put them in a jar of water so that they can continue to grow roots. Now one thing I found with burying the seed potatoes completely, quite often when I pull those slips off of the seed potato, they've already got roots starting. In a lot of cases, I've taken them directly off of the seed potato and planted them, and they come out just fine. If you put them in a jar of water, they'll develop a lot more roots and give them a lot better chance to grow. So that's what I'm going to do this time. But for now, I'm just going to water that in, find a nice sunny spot out here to put it, and let it sit there and grow. And I'll bring you back once we get something starting to show up. So that's it, short and sweet for now. Mom, I hope this helps, and I'll see y'all next time.